Hi guys. So recently I published this Python Zoom meetings package on PyPy. And what this package does is basically it allows you to easily schedule Zoom meetings within your Django application so that you don't have to manually schedule meetings and send out meeting invites to people. So let's say you're a consultant and you have a website where people have to book a consultation with you. This package will automatically schedule the Zoom meeting and send out the Zoom links to everyone who'll be attending the meeting. So in today's video, we'll look at how you can add this functionality to your Python application. It doesn't have to be a Django application. It can be any Python app that you have. So let's get started with that. So to get started, first head over to Zoom and create a new account. If you already have one, you can just sign in. And then just go into meetings. So when we schedule our meetings in our Python application, they should appear here in the upcoming meeting section. And then the next thing you'll want to do once you've signed up for a Zoom account, head over to the Zoom marketplace, the app marketplace, and then sign in there as well with your recently created account. And then once you're signed in, just click on manage. And then we'll create a new app. Say build an app. And then go ahead and select JWT here. So if you're not familiar with JWT, you can head over to the JWT website. And basically, JWT allows you to generate user tokens that will be submitted along with the request when we create a new meetings. So you can go ahead and learn more about it here and see how you can go about using JWT in your applications. Okay, so I already have a JWT app set up, but you can go ahead and set one up. So I already have an app set up here. You can just click on that. And then we'll be using these credentials here to create our JWT token. Once that is complete, head over to the Zoom API documentation. What you have here is a summary of all the features you can perform with Zoom's API. The focus for today will be around creating a meeting. So if you scroll down here, just under IM groups, there's a section that says meetings, and then you have a list of all the features you can do or what the API allows you to do with your meetings. So we'll click on this one that says create a meeting. And this basically outlines the steps that you need to take to actually create a meeting within your application. And this is what we'll be going through. So once that is complete, we can just, I've set up a Jupyter project here. But firstly, let's take a look at the packages that we'll need. You'll need this JWT or PyJWT library to install it. I'm just going to run pip install. Okay, so I've already got that installed. And you'll also need a request. So once you have all of that installed, I'll just clear up my terminal and then run my Jupyter project. Okay. Let's go ahead and open the project. Okay, let's clean this up. So first thing, we'll import all of the libraries we just installed. So you can obviously just reference with the documentation on how to set up each library. So we'll import JWT. We'll also need datetime, because we'll need to set the date for our meeting and also set the expiration date or time for our token. And we'll also need JSON. Okay. So once that's imported, we'll first need to generate our JWT token. So to do that, we'll need to first create a few variables. Let's start with the current time. So when we create a new JWT token, as you can see from the documentation, where is it? If we head over back to our Zoom documentation here and just click on documentation and authorization, so under JSON web tokens, as you can see, our token, to generate our token, will need the API key and the expiration time in this format here, in expiration timestamp in epoch time. So we'll have our API key. So to get the expiration time, we'll just create the expiration time to be 20 seconds from now. So to do that, we'll first need the current time. Okay, and then the expiration time will be 20 seconds from this current time here. So, okay, time now. Then we're just gonna add 20 seconds to this time using time delta. Okay. 20. What we've done here is we've created this variable time now, which is the current time, and then we've set the expiration for our token to be 20 seconds from when the request has been initiated, which will be 20 seconds from pretty much right now. So to just give you an idea of what should happen here, which should be, let's print this out. And then also print out expiration time. This should be expiration time. Okay, so if we run that again, so as you can see, the time now is currently 8:35 and 35 seconds, and then the expiration time for this token will be 8:35 and 55 seconds. So the next thing will be to create the headers for our token. And this is found on the Zoom documentation. If we go back to the documentation, the header will basically be this. We can just go ahead and copy that and paste it in. Okay, and then next thing is going to be our payload. And also you can get this from the Zoom documentation. And then for the expiration time, so when we printed out our expiration time, as you saw, it was not the timestamp format that we have here. So to get it in that format, all you have to do is just add timestamp. No, timestamp. And then we should get it in the required format. But as you can see, we have decimal points here, so we're just going to have to round that off. Okay, and Okay, and then our expiration time will be that. And then for our API key, we'll get it in the Zoom marketplace where we just created our app. So if you just go back to the JWT application you created, go ahead and click on that. Then you should find the credentials. Under credentials, just click copy on API secret or API key. Then just paste it in there. And then next thing is to encode our token using JWT. So to do that, we're just gonna copy this line here. Then if we go back to the Zoom documentation, so we can remove this because we already have our payload, which is that. And then for our app secret, go back to the JWT app you created under Zoom and then copy the API secret. Then paste it in. Okay, and then the rest should be fine. And then lastly, we'll need the email address. So when you create a meeting, you'll just need the email address of the user that's creating the meeting. Okay, and that should be it. Cool. And so basically that's the setup that's required. And then next thing we can go ahead and schedule our meeting. So to do that, we'll just go So to do that, we'll just use the requests package, and it'll be okay, create meeting will be requests dot post. Then we'll need the URL to call, JSON object to pass as well. And this is obviously under Python requests here. So the documentation is all here. So this is what's required, and then headers will be headers. So obviously we don't have these variables yet. Let's go ahead and write those out. So for URL, if you go onto Zoom, the documentation, let's see. So all the Zoom API calls will be called on this endpoint here. So our URL will be, and then users / okay, users / meetings. Okay, email. Okay, so our endpoint will be this https api.zoom.us vusers / and then this variable here will be our email and then meetings. So since this is a post method, it will create the meeting. If we're using a get method, it would just be retrieving meetings. And then for our JSON object, that will be, so the variables that are required to create a meeting, if you just head back to the documentation under meetings, create a meeting, and if you scroll, okay, right here, so there's a few variables that you can pass into the object, like the topic, the start time, duration, and so on. So we're just going to add a few of those. So topic will be test meeting, then start time, let's say date, then let's just create the variable for our meeting start time. So it'll be date time dot date time 2021, say 07 the 5th. Okay, firstly let's see. Okay, let's just fix that. Okay, so that's our date. Maybe time should be, okay, 1:30. So our time and date should be in a specific format that's required by the API. Let's just see. So as you can see, the format should be the year, month, date, and then the time and so on. So let's just get the date in the required time format. And to do that, we'll just say strf time. Okay, so that's the required format for the date. So once we have that, we can continue with our object, and we'll pass in date, and then duration for the meeting will be, let's see, duration should be an integer. We'll make it, is that in minutes or seconds? Okay, in minutes. So we'll make it 30. And you can add password for the meeting as well. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that should be a string. Okay. And that should be it for our object. And then for our request header, just pass in the authorization. And it will just be and that will be our token that we encoded here. So what should happen now is that once we run this, it should create a meeting on this particular date, and with these following details in our object. The topic of the meeting will be test meeting, and the duration should be 30 minutes, and the password should be 12345. Okay, and then we can print out the result once that's done. So text. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that and see what it gives us. And if everything is successful, it says invalid access token. Okay, so there seems to be an issue with our access token, and I think it has to do with our headers in this case. So here under headers, we're calling this headers that we created here, but we should be calling this header instead. So let's just remove that S and reference header there. Then let's just run that again. And our access token is expired because we set it to expire like 20 seconds. So let's just run that. Okay, and our meeting has been created. So if we go back to our Zoom account, and then under meetings, if you refresh it, you should see your meeting that has just been created, test meeting, meeting ID, and so on. And everything else is returned in our meeting request there. And if you click on it, you should get the rest of the details, the password, 12345 that we had just set, and the meeting link and everything.